So the theme that I chose for my book set was overcoming challenges, specifically with female characters. The first book that I chose was Janine, and her problem was bullying. And I chose this book because I think all students can relate to bullying. And Janine shows that you can stay true to yourself, stand up against bullies in a positive way. Janine was bullied, but she continues to be herself and show how nice and kind people can eventually have friends. So I will show you some of the pictures in here that shows that. So she stays kind to the kid in the wheelchair, and she's kind to a kid with a baseball shirt on that other people are making fun of. And then her bully tells her she has to change. Janine likes herself and doesn't want to change. And then the bully's having a party. She's not invited. So Janine decides to have her own party. And everybody wants to come to her party. I used the opening moves connecting with the speaker that we had. And I also introduced Janine as the main character. I had the kids predict what the problem was going to be based on the illustrations, and within that I introduced or reviewed what a bully was, what a bystander was, and what a target was. The next book that I used to fit the theme of overcoming challenges was a book about Zulay. It was my three best friends and me, Zulay. Zulay's problem in the story is that she's blind, so the kids can obviously see that through the illustration on the front of the book. This book shows growth mindset. So when Zulay is working really hard and she is frustrated, she works through it and she accomplishes her goal. Her problem is that she has to choose something to do during field day, and because she's blind, that's going to be a challenge for her, but she practices and eventually wins the race. So we see her frustrated thinking about the cane that she has to use to practice with. And she's practicing and she's getting better at knowing the track, and then she wins the race. In this video, I used the opening moves of talking about what an author is and what kind of word choice and figurative language the author used during this book. I also had the kids predict the challenge based on the illustration and infer the feelings of the characters based on illustrations. And then we talked about growth mindset and how that relates to overcoming challenges to be successful. The next book I used to talk about overcoming challenges was a new version of Cinderella called Cinderstella. And she stays dedicated to her dream even when other people are telling her that she can't do it, or that she should be a princess and marry a prince rather than following her own dreams. I started out this one with a question and talked about the STEM subject areas where sometimes we don't see a lot of female role models. We made a connection with Cinderella, and then I talked about the theme of staying dedicated to who you are and what your dream is, even when other people don't see that for you. So Cinderstella does that. Her dream is to become an astronaut while her stepsisters are dreaming about going to the ball. So her stepsisters are getting ready for the ball, and she is thinking about being an astronaut. Even her fairy godmother wants her to go and marry the prince, meet her prince. And finally, the fairy godmother's like, oh, okay, you really want to be an astronaut? That's really your dream. So you can see she accomplishes her dream. And they all discovered their own happily ever after. The last book that I chose to fit within the theme of overcoming obstacles was New Shoes. And the obstacle is in this book is that Ella May, the main character, is living in the time of segregation. So she has to face some challenges that other people that are like her have to face as well, and she overcomes her challenges and is successful. So to start this book, I talked about the setting being in the 1950s and built some background about segregation. We had a preview of some vocabulary that was colored as compared to African American or Black, and we predicted the problem in the story based on the illustration. So her problem, Ella May's problem in the story, is that she goes into a shoe store, and during the 1950s, she could not try on shoes and she could not be served before a white person. So her mom draws her foot on a piece of paper, and that's how she buys her shoes. So she decides to buy some shoe polish, get some old pairs of shoes, clean them up, and sell them to her friends and neighbors, where anybody is welcome to try on shoes. And as you can see by this picture, it was a very successful idea. So Ella May overcame her challenge and helped other people in the process.